What up, everybody? The Commanders are going to the playoffs. You see that beautiful, beautiful banner, Mitchell?
Holy potatoes!
Clinched. This was an absolutely wild back and forth, up and down affair, obviously. But they're in, dude. We talked about it, all the different machinations, who wins, who loses. Now they're in the 6th seed. They still got another week to play. They just had to win this game. And it wasn't easy. Michael Penix is a lot of things, but he doesn't quit either. That kid's got gumption. But you dial this down to one thing, and it's Jaden Daniels, man. And it just week after week after week, just this relentless pursuit of excellence and just the utmost competitor in that young man. He's just so impressive, dude.
It's unbelievable.
11-5.
11-5, and this team has found ways to win games every which way, and every week it's more impressive than the week before. You can look around the NFL, and definitively there's only 3 quarterbacks that I would arguably take over Jaden Daniels right now, and that's Josh Allen, that's
Lamar,
and Mahomes. And there's arguments for other guys, and we don't need to get into all that. The fact of the matter is, Washington has one of the premier quarterbacks in the NFL, and it's been a long damn time since we've been able to say that.
It's just so fun to watch, and he's so competitive. He threw a pick tonight. I think they just threw too many slants, and the Falcons scouted him well. I think
that was a beautiful zone drop by that kid.
Totally, dude. 55. The linebacker, Ellis, I think. Ellis played a good game throughout. The refs were terrible in this thing. They were far too involved. The fact that they got that chance to win it at the end of regulation, that's just a terrible call. If anything, it's a hold. The fact that the NFL, in their hustle to just protect every quarterback to every inch of the world, and yet they've just completely taken the uncatchable play out of PI.
Yeah.
Pass interference, you never see that uncatchable call.
And it wasn't even a pass interference.
Right.
If anything, it was a defensive holding on the outbreaker, but none of it
matters
because
the Falcons receiver also tripped on his own feet.
None of it matters because you have 5.
Right.
And afterwards, Dan Quinn talked about, he said he was talking to Raheem Morris at midfield, and he's like, we game plan for 5. We put everything we can in. He's like, but every week, or there are weeks that we come out here, and he just does things that we didn't know that he could do. Sure. And it's so impressive.
So he does things we don't know he can do.
Of course.
In the old stadium. But this place was epic tonight, by the way.
It was an incredible crowd, a loud crowd. And Jaden was just another virtuoso performance for him. He put the team on his back, and he carried it 16 times for $127. He went out there, and part of it was play calling, part of it was Jaden saying, I am the best football player on this field right now, and I'm going to go out there and win this game for my team. And he went out there and he did it, and he did it without a ton of guys across the offensive line, his running back room, his wide receivers. He went out there, and what you want from a star quarterback is for a guy to go out there and put a team on his shoulders and win it, and that's what Jaden did, and it's unbelievable for us to be watching it.
I feel like we've been properly excited, right? But these first halves, this tale of 2 halves stuff, I mean, it's back-to-back weeks. Dude, in the first half, Bijan had 13 carries for 82 yards with 2 touchdowns.
He was getting 8 yards a pop. Every run around the outside, he was, whether it was up the middle or around the edges, that dude was able to go through and get yards at will, and that's certainly extremely troublesome.
It's the run game stuff. In the first game, and I know that not everybody's going to agree with me. Look, for those keeping score at home, I actually grabbed halftime stats before I ran down. I was pretty excited about that.
You held them up like you were.
Like I got my diploma.
I thought. Yeah, I was gonna say celebrating a touchdown. But
you want to know a secret?
You got a diploma one time, and I imagine you'll never get it. You had no interest in ever going back. You get another one. Or did you do 2? Did you do grad school?
Yeah,
Georgetown, right?
But don't you get a diploma for high school?
Yeah, that doesn't count.
So I'm gonna tell. I graduated from Georgetown, got whatever you get, and I left that at an ex-girlfriend's house like 25 years ago. So I have no idea where that exists. If anybody wants to get it to me, let me know.
I might be able to find it on eBay.
It's like all written in Latin, too. What's my name in Latin? James's Patrius, something like that. I don't know. It's very late at night.
E pluribus unum.
Yeah, e pluribus unum. Thank you. Si sic terrinus.
Vinny Vici. No, that's the wrong one.
Vinny Vidi Vici.
Yeah.
That's Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
You know what it means?
Yes.
I came, I saw, I conquered. It's what he's doing to the whole damn league. I think Jaden continues to just be so wildly impressive. And, dude, early in this thing, it was freak-out city. When Jaden got bent up and his leg was underneath, dude.
That was a Gumby-type play there.
Kerwin's down on the field. You had a funny Gumby tweet. Kerwin's down on the field and texted our group thread. He's like, yo, I thought he was going to have to get carted off.
Yeah.
I think people were terrified in that moment. And luckily he's, they're agile. They stretch like crazy, and there's a reason because they take these hits. That was worrisome.
Well, Jaden also, real quick, he had the play down there where he got bent up.
Sure.
Then right here at about the 40-yard line or so,
shots of the ribs again.
He had the shots of the ribs. I was going to say he had a little juke play, and it seemed like his foot kind of got caught a little bit, and I was like, I had some quick negative flashbacks to another quarterback.
It's funny. I had a buddy text me. He's like, that's the best the turf has looked this late in the season. He's like, 10 years ago, there's 3 ligaments torn on that thing.
I actually just asked the field crew. I was like, did you guys redo it right before this game? He's like, no, it just looked good.
Well, I've been taking care of it, investing year round.
Absolutely.
I also, they're not going to play here again. So we're done here.
We're done.
Barring something completely crazy where they're the 6 and the 7 seed and they get to
They get to play the
you guys
Packers.
can walk past us, right?
NFC Championship game against the Packers.
I'm not going to hold my breath.
Hold it.
Okay. For how long?
Until we play.
So I don't want to say troubling because he's so good and does whatever the team needs to win. 3rd straight game, Jaden Daniels is your leading rusher. And at halftime, it's all I was saying. And I wasn't saying it was over, and people scoffed at me in the press box dining room. I'm not saying you.
Not I.
I was getting scoffed at. I was like, yo, last week they were able to shut the run down in the second half. Like, there's no rule that they'd be unable to do it. They did it to Saquon, and frankly, Saquon's a better player than Bijan.
But part of the Saquon was the fact that you had Kenny Pickett in at quarterback, and maybe Penix is a.
Yeah, but you had Pickett in at quarterback for most of the first half. I mean,
yeah, but you meant that's an adjustment that they had to
make.
But
dude, Bijan had 82 yards at halftime, finished with 90. Now, I do think there was some dumb game planning by the Falcons where they got away from the run.
I think he had 4 carries in the second half. That's
Tyler Algier didn't get the ball again. So they decided it was Penix time. Penix at halftime, 10 of 19 for 100 yards with the pick. By the end of this game, he had 35 attempts. So that's another, 16. Washington also was finally able to string some drives together.
That was the time of possession in the third quarter was pretty lopsided.
How'd they finish in TOP?
The fact of the matter is,
they finished 41-30 to 25-4. Like,
we're talking 2 straight weeks, both offensively and defensively, and this week maybe a little bit less offensively, but certainly defensively, major game plan changes at the break, and they're able to come out and execute. It's pretty impressive. Yeah. I mean, that's you don't see that. We haven't seen that in Washington. Competent coaches do that all over the league. We haven't seen it in Washington in a long time.
Well, I want to remind everybody, we are live here. You can listen on the podcast. You're watching us on Monumental, or you can watch the replay, YouTube or the Monumental app. We are brought to you by MGM National Harbor. We love MGM National Harbor. We go there. I was thinking we could lock in a college football Final Four night over there.
So the Final Four is on 2 separate nights. It's a Friday, Saturday night.
When? Is that when we're going to be in L.A. potentially?
No, I think it's on our way to Dallas. It's the 4th and 5th, I believe.
Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. We're going to get a night over there. Hope everybody can come hang. I just, specific to the second half thing, I don't want to pick too many nits because they've won 11 games. They're going to the
first
playoffs.
time since 1991.
And, dude, they're ahead of the curve. Like, it's so easy to – if you want to be frustrated at this point that the offense isn't piling up more points and defensively they couldn't stop anybody in the first half, like, you're allowed to be. But then try to, like, rewind your brain to June or July when nobody thought this team was going to accomplish anything.
We were talking about doubling your win total from last year.
Right.
Going from 4 to 8 was going to be, a monumental change or whatever for this team. And they might triple it if they're able to go out and beat Dallas at the last week of the season.
Sure. I think Terry got really bottled up in this thing. Clearly, that was a focus by the
They were
Falcons
rolling
defense.
A lot of coverage his way. There were safeties over
like
the top.
Pure
Doubling.
doubles, but it was a lot of cover 2 shaded his way. And Jaden made him pay with OZ.
Yeah. And here's the thing. They were
if
going.
you started OZ in your fantasy championship, you're looking pretty darn good. How many people you
also,
think started?
Shout out to you for having cojones the size of something.
For what?
For starting OZ.
I didn't.
I know. I'm saying if you did. If you did. I'm not saying you. Not you.
How many people in the planet you think had OZ going in their fantasy title game?
1?
6?
Yeah. I mean, not many.
If you did, shoot us proof of that, and I will buy you a plate of chicken wings.
OZ's brother, OZ's mom, OZ's dad, OZ's best bud from wherever he's from. I mean, listen, back-to-back revenge games for Rosie. He played in Philly, and then he played in Atlanta before that, and to come out and go, what did he end up with? 8 for
85.
8 for 85 and a touch. I mean, that's banana land for him. And to talk about the Atlanta defense, they were playing a lot of single high safety, and on the snap, that safety's turning and running towards Terry on a pretty regular occurrence.
Yeah.
They had it in their mind. They weren't going to let Terry beat him. And quite frankly, without De'Ami Brown, there's not a whole lot of downfield action for this team. So
Right. Totally. And that's a problem. KJ Osborne made an impact, though. Got that holding call right off the break. I have a ton of game balls and goats that I want to go through, and we got the stuff, obviously. But I want to just take a moment before we get to all that and just talk about the resilience and the guts this team has.
And the fight of this team.
Dude, you're down 10 at halftime, and then you give it up, and then you fight right back in overtime. I've been so impressed. You know my theory of coaches. There's the strategist, then there's the people person, then there's the management ownership stooge. Unfortunately, we've had far too many of the
stooges. A lot of stooges.
And then the personal touch people that really don't have the touch. DQ is he is a human, and those guys buy into him, man. And it's wildly impressive, dude.
We've talked about culture so much over the years, and DQ doesn't have to say culture because he just instills it. And you see it from the top of the lineup to the bottom. I was talking after the game to Bryson Tremaine a little bit. Guy who hasn't been active. He's my guy, but he hasn't been active. He finally gets active for tonight. And
he's physical.
He's like a little kid out there playing football, super excited about everything that's happening, watching what Five is doing out on the field, having an opportunity to play in front of a sold-out stadium with the playoffs on the line, going to overtime. I mean, it's everything you grow up dreaming about. You know, everyone in baseball is bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, down 3. It's, you know, this is the world that you want to be in. And to see Jaden time and time again come through, obviously could have come through at the end of regulation, whatever that is, you know, at the end of the game. But the fact of the matter is, Washington dominated that overtime period. They scored with just over 2 minutes left, and Jaden just ran the ball up and down the field.
Yeah. I mean, the Falcons definitely made some poor decisions.
How many bad plays happened for Washington, though?
Yeah.
Sainer still with the offsides on the field goal.
Oh, my God.
I mean, the penalties are
killers.
You know, we're gonna get to the
do
bad
you
stuff
just do
eventually.
that now?
But the penalties have been a problem all season, and I feel like we've kind of excused it a fair amount over the weeks. But a week
I thought this crew sucked, and I think they got
the crew sucked. But
I think there were a lot of bad calls, but still, there is some sloppy, undisciplined stuff happening. That the bad calls are happening with such regularity.
Too many ticky-tack calls tonight, but as a whole on this season, I expected, especially listening to DQ before the season started and training camp and all that, talk about discipline and you know, eliminating the pre-snap stuff. To be in week 17 and still be dealing with that is certainly troublesome to some extent. So,
big picture though, man. Smile if you're a Commanders fan. DJ, can you just show them real quick? Can you zoom in on Clinch back there? If you're listening tonight or tomorrow morning, you're not going to see this. But if you're watching, or DJ, if that one's easier, it's right there.
He's zooming in on the big screen. You have a graphic that says Clinch 2025 NFL playoffs, and you got Jaden, Bobby.
I just love that.
You got everybody. You got Terry. You got Sainer still. You got Sam Cosmi. You got all the big dogs there.
Fowler.
Jeremy Chin, Dexter.
You say Dexter Manley?
Dexter Manley, yeah. Who's on the bottom right? Is that 11? Is that another
bottom right? You're asking me? Isn't that Terry? No,
I think Terry's right in the middle. But the fact of the matter is, I mean,
isn't that 0? I think that's Samer still.
No, bottom right.
Bottom right is 0.
0. Oh, and that's 8. Well, that's Brian Robinson next to him. I thought that was Sander still there.
Robinson conversation?
No, not right now.
we're living high right now.
We're living too good right now.
Yeah, that's a lot of your head right there. That is a lot
of head right there.
Whoa, pause, Mitchell. It's a children's program at 1:14.
No one's poaching eggs here. We're good.
You know what's? You want to hear something funny?
Yeah,
my wife actually made me poached eggs on Christmas Day.
High five.
No, like eggs Benedict, hollandaise sauce,
high five.
the whole 9 yards.
Good job, bud.
It was great.
Congrats.
Were great. Yeah. No, but like I can't stress enough that just the actual food.
Yeah, I understand where you're going with that. That's all we ever talk about is just the actual food.
Should we get to game balls and goats?
Let's get to game balls and goats.
Who are these brought to you by Oarsman Automotive?
They're brought to you by Oarsman Automotive of
Bob
Virginia.
Biaggi was here.
Was he here?
Well as Garv Galati, yeah, and their brother and Bob's brother-in-law Kevin. I saw them up on the mezzanine or concourse, whatever you call that. I don't know this, and I'm sure Bob will claim this. I think they might be undefeated with Biaggi in attendance.
I'm ready to.
What's their home record? They lost to the Cowboys here.
Yeah, they lost to the Steelers here.
Steelers here.
So 6-2, 7-2, 6-2.
No, I think they played 9 home games this year, right?
Yeah.
So where'd they lose on the road? They lost at Philly?
They lost to Tampa, Philly, Ravens, Steelers, and Cowboys 5.
All right, there
So
you have it.
7-2 home record. I mean, and we started off and we said it, but the crowd was
awesome.
Unreal.
I got them in here.
What I loved about the crowd today was when the Commanders needed a boost, they got loud and they pumped them up. And DQ talked about it afterwards.
For people at home, like
that it was
Lauren
loud.
They're like, "Wow, it sounds so loud there," and it was and did.
And remember, we were up in Philly and we were talking about the light show that they put on up there.
I thought
and Mark Ian
stealing game balls. Dude.
Sorry, we'll get Mark Ian had tweeted about it. We can do a lot of stuff here at Northwest Stadium.
Yeah.
And
they did the one pregame and
the
then
intro
they did one
was super cool.
Kind of end of the third quarter or whatever. It's dude, when
it's a different world out here.
DJ Premonition plays Biz Marquee, everybody gets hype. Oh baby,
you!
It was
you got what I need.
It was great, man. All right, let's start officially. You ready?
All right.
Game Balls and Goats brought to you by Horseman Automotive of Virginia. Quan Martin makes a play early on when they need a play.
The pick you're talking about.
The interception. Great INT. Good little run back on there. They're able to convert that to points. That's what good teams do. Quan, game ball.
And Quan had the 2 big hits that separated wide receivers from the ball. Quan has been quietly, I think I've said it a couple times here on the pod, I've been impressed with Quan this year.
Yeah, dude.
I don't think
he
the
came
fans
on strong at the end of last year, too, if you remember.
Jaden Daniels. I mean, that's just the easiest game ball in the world. I'll go OZ also.
Yep. I have Jaden and OZ.
Yeah. I mean, those are the 2 offensive game balls, I think.
I think Ertz.
Ertz, yeah. And you know what? Chris Rodriguez also.
Ertz was fantastic, dude.
What I loved about Ertz was fantastic. Ertz finally, all the yak that everyone was yelling about for Ertz, he finally got on that big throw.
6 for 72 and 2 touchdowns, including the game winner.
Yeah.
And people, I think, just unfairly disrespected Zach's game. He's really good at getting open. You know how much he's helped Jaden
And
Daniels?
that
when you
first
hear
drive.
Kingsbury talk about him during the week, and he's like, there's one of the best tight ends in NFL history. You realize where he is in the record books. He went past Ozzie freaking Newsome today and receiving yards by a tight end. Zach Ertz gets the game.
The first drive, he was open in the end zone, and Jaden just barely floated on him. Chris Rodriguez gets one for me. I think he and Jeremy McNichols did a really good job stepping up in pass pro and filling some gaps and blowing up some defenders. But specifically,
we got a goat coming to the other side of that.
We know Rodriguez had the touchdown here, which was a big play. The play either right before that or 2 before that, Jaden had a little 8-yard run, and 55, who was Ellis, is screaming across the from his linebacker position to hit Jaden, and you see C-Rod just come in and missile him, and it's only a 5-8 yard run from Jaden.
Otherwise, it's -3.
Those are the big plays.
Smoked by your rookie.
It was it was 2 or 3 yards downfield. It would have still been a positive play, but it's more the fact that you're saving Jaden from a big hit, and you're also reminding them, hey, I can't just blindly pursue. I got to keep my eyes open, and you got to love when running backs are throwing those big blocks, especially when it's downfield.
I think when you saw B-Rob get, he wasn't benched. He was
the right
out
word.
for a while.
Yeah.
McNichols and Rodriguez were absolutely better in pass pro today, undeniably.
And you got to a point where it's now multiple weeks. It's most of the season. The team can't run the ball very well, and I think as we get to the Cowboys and the playoffs, that's clearly going to be an issue. If you can't run the ball and stop the run, you can't lose on the line consistently and be super successful. But the fact that they were able to overcome all that and still come out with a W is awesome.
You sleep on D'Angelo Malone.
I do.
He was the Falcons linebacker that got the illegal touching on 3rd and 22 that gave Washington an incredibly vital first down on that long drive. Shout out to D'Angelo Malone. These refs were terrible, but at least they called one bad one on Atlanta. That 3rd and 22, a 5-yard penalty, nets you a first down. Shout out to the chain crew also out here gutting it out. I thought Jeremy Chin played really well. Had a big hit late.
The problem was Jeremy Chin had the really big hit early and then immediately had a missed tackle.
Yeah, but he had a PBU late. I feel like Chin's just been so good for them. Specifically,
you want one?
Dorrance Armstrong had a sack late in this game. It might have been the only sack they got.
I hadn't seen Dorrance show up on the stat sheet much.
2 weeks ago, I think he had a sack in New Orleans.
Not too much. Fowler had a couple holds called against him.
Well,
He
yeah,
had
the PI,
right.
or the roughing,
the roughing, which is a tough call. But
hold
I'm
on.
not saying game ball for him. Just
on the Armstrong sack. That sack was created because John Allen got some interior pressure. And I'm not here to give John Allen a game ball. But my mentions, I don't know why you're counting everybody else's money. Everybody's so mad at John Allen and Deron Payne when they can't stop the run because they make $20 million a year. That's fine, but I had a billion people telling me, oh, they can't stop the run, John Allen's back. They couldn't stop the run last week without him. Like, is it... See, guys, they haven't stopped the run all year. They came into this game 29th in rush yards allowed. And you make it about J.A. the night he comes back?
They can't stop the run. They haven't been able to stop the run. You've seen them rotate through D linemen the whole season. I understand some of the frustration, not with J.A. specifically, but with the combo of J.A. and Deron.
I do too. I didn't understand why today it was like this focal point as Bijan's ripping stuff off because last week Saquon hit him for 75.
Yeah.
And J.A. was still on IR.
Right. It's not J.A.'s fault by any means. However, you want your best players, your guys that you
highest earners, I guess.
But you, by being your highest earner, ostensibly they should be your best players to step up and play well, especially in big football games. And we didn't see a ton of that. Deron had the offsides on that last drive for the Falcons that almost put them into field goal range before the bad PI call.
Right.
I understand the frustration. You need those guys to step up and play better. And I think the fans and us, everyone, we're hoping with J.A. back that would help alleviate some of the rushing issues, the rush defense issues that they've had. And quite frankly, that didn't happen.
Mitch, there's a helicopter just flew over in New Jersey. They would call that an unidentified flying object. Should we get to any of the GOATs here?
Would that be I think there's a couple more game. Do we give the fans a game ball?
I think like 4 times.
Yeah.
But fire away. Give him another one.
We did it. So, you want to go to GOATs? Oh, no. I have one more game ball to give.
Fire away.
Raheem M.F. Morris for not calling a timeout at the end of the fourth quarter. They had that long play.
I got a text from another NFL coach that was like, yo, what is happening?
What the hell is going on? They had the long catch on the comeback, and they caught the ball with 38 seconds left. You call timeout there. You have plenty of time to make some plays.
Yeah, man.
They didn't snap that until 22, and they got the ball with about 50 seconds left, and they ran 4 plays. And they ended up getting a field goal attempt, so maybe Raheem will tell you that he made the right move. But they had a lot of opportunity.
Riley Patterson, who was here, has never kicked 50 or over outdoors. You think you want to get a little more yardage for the guy?
And we saw Riley Patterson in training camp unable to make anything
one more
from
game
50
ball.
plus.
Jeremy Reese.
Oh,
dude,
yes.
After the game. So it was wild. So I was down here after the game.
I think we have some video we're gonna queue up here.
Yeah, we can run it because I'll start here. So Johnny Newton runs over here and just sits in the stands. Johnny's just chilling in the stands, and then a few minutes later, Revo runs over, grabs his girlfriend out of the stands, gets down on one knee and proposes to her. Just such an incredible moment, and to do it, you know, it's the final home game of the year, most likely, certainly the final regular season home game of the year. And he had this planned, obviously, because I could tell there started to be a commotion on the sideline. People were kind of getting ready for it. I don't believe that young woman had any idea it was coming. That's game ball for all parties, man.
And listen,
congratulations.
This video is awesome, and seeing Revo do that. Check out JP's Twitter because Tress Way comes around. Tell him what happened because
there's all sorts of chaos after Revo and they get engaged, and then finally they start working their way down the tunnel. And Tress and Jeremy are incredibly close, especially with all the special teams over the years.
And Revo and Tress's kids are tight. Like,
totally,
there's a lot of connection.
Think about Tress and Revo are like 2 of the dudes that have been here a while. There's not a lot of guys that have been here a while. So Tress comes screaming down towards the tunnel here and grabs Revo, and he's like, ah! And then she holds up the ring, and it was just a really cool moment.
It was.
Check that video out if you want.
And then it was funny for me. I'm up the tunnel a little bit right up here, and Revo and his girl are running up the tunnel together. And I'm like, is he bringing her in the locker room to celebrate? Like, where are we going with this thing?
I got to ask you, seeing that kind of moment, the romance, the emotion, does that make you any closer to popping the question with should there be the lucky lady? Does that make you want to get married?
I don't mind the popping the question portion.
Oh,
I'm okay with that. If the right young lady comes around.
Is it the altar, like the finalization of the process?
I love my nieces and nephews to death.
So you get married, but not in the baby market.
There you go.
Go to V-Town.
I don't need to.
Now on the GOATs. Mitch is looking to get married, ladies. Listen, if there's a woman watching this thing at 1:24 a.m.,
She might be the one. She might be the one.
I'm starting, and a lot of mine are in chronological order, just because I'm taking notes as the game goes on.
Yeah.
Sammerstill, dude, he got burnt for a touchdown later in the game. The offsides in the neutral zone on a 4th and 4 where you're off the field in a game that ended up coming down to the wire. He's way too smart for that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Go.
Absolutely. You can keep going. I don't know that
Okay.
I mean, I definitely will have some.
You can agree or disagree, but I got plenty here. Brian Robinson, dude.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. That's such a.
You're not getting much done on the ground. Now, they still clearly trust you because they went back to him in the second half.
B-Rob ran for 59 yards today.
On what was the YPC? It ended up being okay, right?
17 for 59 at 4.6 a pop.
It was bad in the first half, and
was.
the pass pro was bad in the first half.
To me, that's
and
what
the
it is.
Pass
it's the
pro
pass pro
is more alarming, and that I got asked on All Ears. One of the mailbag questions was, "Oh, are you worried about the fumbles?" I said, "No. Like he's not a fumbler. Something fluky happened twice, and
he had two fumbles in the 524
carries, right?
Or 42, whatever the number was.
But dude, it's just like it continues to be this like slog, and I think if you watch tonight, now I know the numbers aren't the same, but I think Rodriguez was better on the field than B-Rob was. B-Rob was good late though.
B-Rob was ultimately got there. It was actually funny because when Cornelius Lucas went out with the ankle injury and they brought Trent Scott in is when they started running the ball a lot more. And actually, at first I was like, what are we doing here? But Trent is better in the run game than he is in the pass game. Trent Scott filling in there at right tackle over there. But they were able to find some room in the middle of the field, and that was with Dieter in there at center, who did a much better job
tonight.
tonight.
Any injury updates? I'm sure DQ didn't say anything, but
Biotish and Allegretti right here were.
I saw him.
I mean, that was a big old embrace and a run, and I'm sure Biotish is beat up, but he had his helmet in the second half, and he was working out on the sideline doing a couple, pass blocking drills. I imagine in a pinch he may have been able to come back in. But Dieter was doing a good job.
Yeah.
As many complaints as we had about Dieter, whatever
Last
it was,
time he played,
3 games ago when he came in, he was much better today. Better with the snaps, better with the timing. Things were a lot smoother.
So this one is a very minor can kick because I think overall the offense was really good. But clearly there's a former Super Bowl winning linebacker that's in the press box with us that works for the NFL that I don't know what I'm allowed to say. But like
I think that
clearly Atlanta was the pick Jaden threw. Like they knew exactly what was coming. And so
it was a good zone. I mean, sometimes you have to tip your cap to the defense. That was a really good zone blitz. That dude had been blitzing and showed blitz and dropped out perfectly into it. Maybe it was a little bit of a
tell.
Yeah, they had been running a ton of slants.
The offense was really good, though. But, like in that all right, I hate this. I've become very clear. I think the NFL needs to stop coddling quarterbacks. You can't just protect them at all costs. So the Dante Fowler roughing call, I hate this freaking call so much. So he is rushing the quarterback, and then the quarterback ducks.
Right.
He goes down, so then he hits him high. But that wasn't a high hit.
Right.
If the quarterback stands tall in the pocket.
Well, the thing was, it wasn't even.
I just hate that so much.
It wasn't even a wrap. He was trying he was trying to knock the ball
down.
He
knew not to wrap because he couldn't. Like, he'd get in trouble. I understand the call by the letter of the rule. I just hate it.
And for folks mad about the Jaden Daniels low hit when his knee gumbeat. Inside the pocket, you're not getting a call for that. So that's NFL rules. That's the way they do it.
I got 2 more, and I'll defer to you on the second one, but I think you're going to agree with me on the first one.
Okay.
Rough night for Brandon Coleman.
Oh, yes.
He was getting dogged.
He did. Matthew Judon.
We don't need to
he's a very good football player.
Right.
Didn't
he lead the NFL in sacks like 2 years ago for the Pats?
However, this Falcons team were last in the NFL in sacks. They came out tonight and they got 5 on Jaden.
Yeah.
I got to imagine they had 34 coming into the game. That's the most they probably had.
And when
in a single game.
When did he take 8? Was that New Orleans or was that last week? Last week they had all the turnovers. The sacks might have been New Orleans. Some of those were on Jaden.
Yeah.
And some of those were on play calling.
Sacks
tonight were just pressure.
Yeah, it was. But yes, Brandon Coleman left a lot of room to be a lot to be desired there. But also, when you start going with the 4 wides, when you start spreading everything out and leaving all these guys one-on-one, you got to make quick decisions. You got to deal with all those kind of things, and certainly that was a part of it. But oh boy, we got some stuff happening over here. We got a cart rolling over our cables. Let's just hope it doesn't get pulled. Good thing Kendall's not there because then we definitely would have been pulled.
Hold on, DJ? Can you bring that over?
You want to touch that?
This is only going to work for our television audience. No, not the food, bro.
No, the fur.
Somebody left their fur, and I just
boots with the
I'm
fur.
telling you, I feel like romance in the air. Like
you are feeling
Cinderella or something. Listen, Mitch, you are convinced that if there is a woman that's watching, she might be the woman for you. And much like Cinderella's glass slipper, perhaps this lady left this fur.
Maybe I should just.
Yo, you look like King Jofi Jofur from Coming to America when he's got the lion on. R.I.P. James Earl Jones. Last one, and I'll defer to you. Cosme. It's a can kick at least.
It's a can
You have the
kick.
game-winning touchdown that gets called back.
It's a can kick. The Cosme hold that they called right here. This is ridiculous.
I think I
the
love
Cosme
it.
kick that
Makes me
happened
incredibly
that
happy.
they called right here was a pretty wild call there.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how dirty do you think that thing is?
I mean, it's a 37 out of 10. I everything that this thing has touched is going to go to the wash.
All right, we can go to the
Cosme.
stuff.
Yeah, Cosme was a tough one just because
I hated the hold.
he was
though.
right. It wasn't. It shouldn't have been a hold.
I agree.
But I understand why they called it.
All right, the stuff is brought to you by MGM National Harbor. We're excited to get to it. The big man, just too much thumbs, dude. Too much man. The big man's trying to get his phone out of this holder, and all of a sudden he just has it on emergency turn
Listen,
off.
I am ready to call 911 to celebrate
100
this thing.
Chips is brought to you by BetMGM, by the way. I played it safe. I took a straight bet, Commanders -4. I won.
You
Bang.
won. You
Hey,
went
it was in the money the whole time, never a doubt.
It was. Well, yeah, never in doubt. Never in doubt. It's a shame because I had my three-team parlay, and the only thing I missed was Terry's catches.
Big man likes it exotic.
It was right
That's
there.
why he's got the fur on.
Yeah. It was right there. It was right
'cause
there
the
for
team
me.
total got
the team
home
got
for
over
you, too.
29.5 in overtime.
Oh, wow.
They covered the 4. I just needed Terry to
If I may
to
point
get a
out,
couple
though,
more catches.
parlays are difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And you
There's a reason they pay plus 475.
you kind of bullied me into it, but that's okay.
No way. You are a bad loser.
You described it as Frank the Tank, right?
No, I said you were like,
All
I'm
it
going to
took
take it
was-
easy.
all
I'm
it
going to
took
take
was
it
a-
easy.
All it took was a little bit of motivation, and all of a sudden I was ready to do it.
You're a bad loser.
I haven't lost anything yet. This thing is still wide open, buddy.
What is the count now?
You are at -105, and I am at -340.
That's just one good parlay away.
Yeah.
I mean,
we always?
It's week 18,
Yeah. Right. It's
right? Like we got one game left now.
2 games.
No, I thought we were going to set up.
Oh, we're gonna redo in the playoffs.
You know how like the
Yeah, yeah.
leagues, like your playoff stats kind
Yeah,
of stand
okay.
out. I don't know. We can debate.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, yeah.
Open a discussion.
We can get to over-unders now.
Okay.
JP came in with a commanding 6-4 lead, and
that was actually kind of commanding.
it was, and you wrapped this whole thing up because you had a big old
it's a
3-0 evening tonight.
3-0. I think I'm 6-0 in the last 2 weeks.
You've definitely
Closing strong.
Definitely made a good comeback.
What did I? I went over on Jaden.
Jaden Daniels 225.5. You went over.
he
I went
barely
over.
get
You
home?
got 227, which got there for you.
And so that's overtime too.
B-Rob was 64.5. He ended up with 59. You went under. I went over.
Oh, really?
And then lastly, total turnovers was 3.5. There was only two of them.
Picks, right?
There was only 2, but Penix put the ball on the ground many times.
I mean,
it was there for it.
Gosh, the one kind of
Igbenogany
strip
could have had
sack
the tip
Right.
from Bobby Wagner's
Right.
over there. They could have gotten there. They just didn't quite get there.
I love you're a very good sport that you still have that fur on your right shoulder.
Listen, we're rocking it. This team's going to the playoffs.
Did anybody get the
Everything's up in the
Benji
air.
bet? Everything's hitting.
Benji bet was right there. I had
You
20.
You looked over. You were like, "Yo," and I was like, "Ooh."
It was 21-17. I had 28-20. It was very much in play to end there.
You know when I looked over to you and I said, "Mitch, I don't want to say it," and you were like, "I know what you're thinking."
Overtime.
No. At
Oh.
that moment, it was 10:45, and there was 5 minutes left in the game.
Oh.
And I was like, this thing's going to end early. Like, we'll be home in a reasonable hour.
I thought you were sitting there talking about not wanting this game to go to overtime.
Which
'cause
I
we were-
obviously wouldn't have.
Of course, none of us
Right.
did. But you know what? If the game can go as long as it wants, as long as it ends
Sure.
with the
That
Commanders
way. Right.
punching a playoff ticket, and it was.
So neither of
I
us
had
hit Benji
28-20.
bet,
You
right?
had 26-20.
Yeah. Lou.
Yep.
Shout out
Neither
to
of us
Lou
got
Holder.
there. Big Lou.
All right. What else we got?
What do you think of this fur for me, bud?
He looks like King Joffy Jofur.
Hey, are you gonna get someone to
Let's
spread
start throwing rose
rose
petals.
petals on my feet?
Let's get.
Who's going to clean up those flowers?
Let's get through the stream. Then we'll all go get Big Mix.
Yes.
He's got the Big Mac. We got the Big Mick.
Big Mick. Let's get to what makes you smile.
Talking about Coming to America makes me smile. That's a funny movie.
Hell yeah. Teethkeepers.com. What makes you smile is brought to you by Dominion National.
I'll give you a full Teeth Keepers
Visit them
song
at teethkeepers.com, where they provide high-value dental and vision benefits for individuals. Enroll today and save. Teethkeepers.com.
You go ahead, buddy. It makes me smile that you're wearing this right now.
You know what makes me smile? Every damn thing.
Sure.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything that happened today was awesome. It was an incredible football game. To be playing meaningful football games in December and then obviously have it come out in your favor, punch a playoff ticket, get yourself ready to either go to L.A. or Tampa, depending on Philly, depending on what happens in Week 18, was awesome. The crowd was awesome. The atmosphere here was cool. Seeing the upgrades of the stadium with the lights was awesome. The field looked great. Jaden is the man. He's top 5 quarterback in the NFL, whatever you want to call it. All of it. Everything makes me smile.
Dude, I totally agree. I love just seeing it's finally down now because they're trying to wrap up the stadium.
Yeah.
But seeing that clinch graphic I thought was so cool. Seeing the excitement from these fans. Watching Revo get engaged.
Yeah.
I mean, all of it was just so neat. Seeing Dan Quinn and Adam Peters, just the enjoyment and the team they put together, come together. The amount of texts and phone calls I'm getting from people that are so excited. Like the amount of people that have kind of checked out organizationally that are just all the way back, dude. I love that. Sincerely, I love it. I think it's fun. I think it's good for the city. Dude, the Commanders are in the playoffs, definitely. Ovi scored 2 in 2 games. It means 25. Like, it just feels like the year of D.C., man.
Whatever dark cloud was over this organization for so damn long.
Dude, Snyder couldn't win 11 games ever. Harris has won it year 1.
And
year 1 for real.
Right. And you think about all the different getting the RFK stuff done.
Right.
It's awesome. It's so damn fun.
Last thing. I don't want to hear, and I've been clear about this for a while now, don't want to hear about benching guys. Do you want to hear about benching guys? You're still playing for the 6th seed.
There should be zero talk of benching guys. You need to win against
We're
Dallas.
On the same,
they lost to Dallas on this football field.
Sure. Yeah.
They need to go to Dallas and win that game.
Now, if somebody's hurt or 50-50, like there are situations where maybe you examine them differently. But if anybody tweets me about benching Jaden, go jump off a cliff. Or at least a big hill.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Roll gently.
Yeah, I was going to say. You don't want him jumping off a cliff, huh?
A big hill.
Shout out to Cliff, by the way.
Shout out to Cliff. For me and King Jaffe Jofer, we are brought to you by MGM National Harbor. Sure.
What do you want to do?
I don't know. DJ's mad about something.
Are you making sure that thing's dead?
That's Daryl Johnson, everybody.
Yeah, big shout out to Daryl.
DJ making me smile. I don't know. Exactly. Now, for the people that only listen to the podcast, one more reason you should tune into the replay on the Monumental app or check us out on YouTube. Let's go, big man. To the playoffs, baby.
To the playoffs, baby. To the moon.
To the playoffs. If you made it this far, I'll eat beer.